Hi, I'm Larry Puckett, the DCC guy. Well, today we're going to take another week off from building the modules, and I want to share with you a new product from DCC Concepts, their Universal Interface and ESP receiver. And we'll talk about both aspects of that, what it can do for you, and how it does it here in just a moment. So stick around for a few seconds and we'll get started. Hit that little red subscribe button, and when the little bell comes up, click on it and click all. Okay, so just what is this universal interface? What does it do, and why would you be interested in it? Well, as the name implies, it is a universal interface, and it allows you to use various DCC Concepts products, such as their Alpha Central Control Panel, with any DCC system. And I'll show you in just a minute how that works, because it's a very interesting process. But what it means, though, is you can take the output from any DCC system, run it through this little circuit board here, and attach it to your control bus, to your DCC power bus, and use it to control your locomotives. You can control all the accessories on your layout, and you can use various of the DCC Concepts Alpha products that allow you to do those kind of things. And we'll take a look at a couple of different products here that I've set up for you with this demonstration layout, if you will. So let's go ahead and get started with a close-up look. And for that, I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer here. Okay, once again, I'm going to stay out of the picture and just kind of point to things and explain what this stuff does. Back about, 3 years ago now, I showed you the Alpha Central Control Panel. And it has a series of 12 push buttons on here, and it allows you to control accessory decoders. And you can set the push buttons here up to 12 addresses. And then if it's address 1, you just push the button and switch number 1 will throw, etc., etc. You can turn on lights, do all kinds of things like that using the control panel here. And it's literally, you just plug it in and you're ready to go. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the DCC Concepts products like this were designed to work with NCE equipment. So that immediately brings up the question of, well, is there any way to get it to work with my Digitrax system, with my lens, with my MRC, with any other type of DCC system out there? And the answer is yes. Now there is a very easy solution. And that's what this universal interface does. So let me show you how this works. And for that, I'm going to bring you over here in front of the Digitrax command station I've got set up, and we'll make all the connections and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so this is a Digitrax DCS240, and I've also tried this with the DCS210. They're top of the line command stations available now. And what you do is, basically you've got two wires that would normally come out and go directly to your track power bus. And what I've done here is I've made the connection with this connector that is provided, and that goes into the interface right here, and it says power in right here. So you just plug it in, and you can see it immediately lit up, this little blue LED lit up for me. And then I've got this other connector here that connects to a track power bus that I've already got set up. And I'll show you how that works in a minute. So I'm going to plug that one in over here. Now, what happens is the DCC power signal comes out of the command station and goes into this universal interface circuit board. And what the circuit board does is it takes commands from things like the Alpha Central panel and from other Alpha devices, and that takes those commands that come in from these various other pieces of equipment and converts them all to a DCC command and integrates them into the commands coming from your command station. And that can be a Digitrax command station like I've got here, MRC, lens, any other type of DCC compatible command station. So then the commands from the DCC Concepts products are integrated into the DCC command, and it goes out here on this wire to run locomotives, to run your various accessories, whatever. So that means that you'll be able to control all your accessories using either a Digitrex or other throttle to give throttle commands, and you'll still be able to control your trains using your throttle. And just about all of the command stations available today support accessory control. So that integrates accessory commands from the Digitrex throttles and from the various DCC Concepts products into one DCC signal. Let's zoom back out and take a look at how this actually works. Okay, so I've got the command station output, track output wires connected into the board and power coming out the other end. It says DCC output here. And then the wire goes down here and I've got it connected to the track at the far end here. Let me see if I can get that far enough to show you. So you can see I've got alligator clips at this end attached to that power bus and to the rails. So let's just give it a try now. You can see that the locomotive is operating. Let me turn the sound on. Okay, so I can still control my locomotive there. And if I want to be able to control a turnout, like this IP digital point motor that I've got set up here, I can use the switch command in my throttle, and I'll go to switch, and it's set for 1. And you can see the little arm is moving here, so I've got control of this switch motor through the interface. I can also connect the Alpha Central control panel through an NCE fascia panel here, and that's just used for the interconnection. And I can plug it in right here, like so. You can see it's powered up, and I can throw the switch using the Alpha Central DCC Concepts control panel connected to this bus, this very short accessory bus or power bus. Right there I've shown you, you can use your throttle to control your locomotives. You can use your throttle to issue switch commands. You can use the DCC Concepts Alpha Central control panel to control accessories like this switch machine point motor. There we go. And you can do this other ways as well. Now, one of the interesting things about this then is I'm able to use this NCE fascia panel to make a connection, but I could just as easily connect this directly to the board. And still issue the commands. So I'm just using the NCE fascia panel as a way of connecting up multiple units, and I'll talk about that in a minute, because there are other units available from DCC Concepts that do similar things. For example, they have their AEU unit, and that allows you to do essentially the same thing as the Alpha Central, except it allows you to connect your own switches, your own toggle switches on, say, a control panel that's wired into your layout to the DCC power bus. But also, I want to be able to show you something else, and that's where the ESP interface part of this comes in. So let me bring that over here and add that to the mix. Now, there's another very interesting aspect of this called their ESP system, and it's an ESP wireless system, and I showed how to use this when I built a hidden staging yard several years ago on the old Piedmont Southern, and I'll put a link to that video and the other videos that I've just referred to. But at any rate, this is the old control panel, and it's entirely wireless, and the way it works is it has these little transmitter boards inside connected to these toggle switches. So you throw a toggle switch, goes into here, and it sends out a DCC command through this little antenna that is picked up by the antenna here, and it is added into the control circuit on this wire here. So even though this is not wired to anything, I can turn it on, and I can flip switch number 1, and I'll be able to control this switch here. So you can see that moving and probably hear it. So I thought this was a great way to be able to control a model railroad at an exhibition or something like that, where you don't want to have control panels sitting around where kids can push them or throw switches for you, things like that. And it just allows you to move around with your control panel and be able to control different turnouts on your model railroad. And you could build one of these for your entire model railroad or for just a section like I did for a staging yard here. And we'll be using this again in the future on the modules when we get around to that aspect of it. This was the original receiver board here, and you can see that the new one is quite a bit bigger, and it has a much greater capacity. The original one, this little guy here, was rated at 1.5 amps. This one is rated at 3.5 amps continuous, 5 amps max, and they have operated equipment on this up to 5 amps before they were able to trip the circuit board internally. And it does have its own protection circuit internally. So this one will give you 3.5 amps continuous or 5 amps maximum, so that intermittently you could go up over 3.5 amps operating your model railroad. So for a small model railroad, all you would need is this interface set up so that for your trains, for your power bus, and also for your accessory bus. Now let's take a look at a couple of diagrams, because this diagram that I'm going to show you right now shows how you can set this up with any DCC command station, because all it's doing is taking the track power output from your command station, running it through the circuit board, coming out the other end, and creating a power bus. And as you can see in these diagrams, you can use that to create a DCC power bus for your trains and your accessories, or you could break it out and you could have a DCC power bus just for your trains and have a separate accessory bus set up just for controlling the accessories on your layout. And you would have 3.5 amps to do that with. Now, of course, you would really need an additional booster to go with that in order to be able to operate it. But that's only as long as you want to be able to use your throttles for control as well. Because let me go back here to the image and I'll show you what I'm talking about. One of the things you can do is, instead of providing power from your DCC command station, you can provide power from a DC power supply, and at up to 5 amps. And that will give you the capability of operating the Alpha central control panel and the ESP interface and various other Alpha products that would be compatible with this standalone without even using a DCC system. So that means that folks who have a DC layout could use these devices along with various DCC accessories on their model railroad and still not be using a DCC command station to do all of that. You can do it just with DC. So to wrap it up then, we have the universal interface. We can connect Alpha central control panels directly to the board, or multiples using one of the DCC Concepts panels or one of these NCE connector panels, fascia panels. We can control devices on the layout using the switch commands in a throttle like this. Very quick and easy. We can go back, we can control our model trains on the layout very easily. And we can use devices like the Alpha Central Control Panel to control accessories attached to either a DCC power bus or to a DCC accessory power bus. So all kinds of options for you. Well, that's a wrap for today's video. For more information on this and to download some of those diagrams that I showed you, go to the DCCConcepts.com website and look up Universal Interface. And it'll take you to the page for that. You can download the instruction sheet. You can download all of those diagrams showing you how to set up an accessory bus or a main power bus, whichever you would like to use, and how the different pieces of equipment attach to it and interface with it. So, have a great week, have a great weekend, and I'll see you here soon with another video from the DCC Guide. Bye now.